Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Super 7 Ultimates Wave 7 coming out for Silverhawks. And I gotta say this is a perfect selection, a perfect wave. I couldn't have guessed it better or suggested better than what they chose for this wave. I'll tell you why. Most of these were in the vintage toy line. We get modern representations. Melodia is a very necessary character in Silverhawks. So great. We're going to get into talking about all this. But a lot of people felt like we were going to get a Moonstriker. And, Moonstriker, yeah. And the fact we're not getting Moonstriker this go around isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's actually a good thing. It makes me think that we're going to get another wave. So I'm going to tell you what I think we should get in another wave. We'll talk about this some more. And how great this is. Except for the crazy price hike. Coming up. Now, a lot of you are probably going to say, Mike, you are the biggest shill for Super 7. Yeah, you're guilty as charged. That's me. But I do feel this is a perfect wave. So Flashback is an excellent choice of a figure. In fact, in many ways, I'm more excited for this than the regular ones because I wasn't sure we'd get to it. I hoped and hoped and hoped. And as soon as, first off, thank you, one of my viewers told me about this. And I was too busy working on other projects to even check my email at that time. And so I got back to checking email and went and pre-ordered all these instantly because it is that important. And I'll even go in later on in this video why it's that important to support this. And here's what it comes with. Now, he's going to get his bird should be called Backlash. I'm not sure if they call it that. I'm not reading anything about that description there, but so you get the perched bird, you get the wings open bird. Going back to the roots of this toy line, you get the wing it, wings out. You get the arms and standard arms and two different heads. The lasers in the shoulders and a bunch of different hands. So the accessories really aren't amazingly great. They're just consistent with what they've done in the past. And I probably would have mine with the wings on and maybe the mouth open face, and I'll have both his birds on the shelf because the way I display it. But pretty fun, pretty exciting to see this figure. Now, I guess this is the time to talk about it. No vac metal. And I'm excited about this because I think we'll get the next wave of all new characters, and then we'll get another toy version with this one. Moonstriker, I believe, will be in the next wave. And then maybe something else getting kind of a toy reissue. Maybe not vac metalized, but then again, they did that Monstar vac metalized. But standard, tune accurate at first, then vac metal down the road. With these being 65 apiece, I'm scared of the vac metal prices. Here's the proposed digital imagery for packaging. Never ever matches. It's never once matched. Whatever they digitally show as packaging has never once actually matched. But it doesn't matter at all. It's like a trivial little thing there. But I want to show the vintage figure with it. And the vintage figure had some wings mounted to the back that kind of popped up. So different than what we got. Maybe I should go rewatch the show and see how his wings operate. I don't know. So if we get a toy version, would we get different wings? And I do want fully vac metalized in a toy version in the future. But they only vac metalized torso because I guess A, save money back in the day, and B, so you have less vac metal wear. Anyhow, that was kind of a strange thing with this figure back in the day. And with that, I'm okay so far with what I'm seeing and how it's going. Curious how the toy version will go in the future. Next is Condor. Condor should come with Jetstream. And if they use that name, Super 7, I didn't check and see. But it's interesting because it looks a lot like what Condor should look like from the cartoon. And the wings I think the cartoon wings match better than the toy with that backpack. But it does feel a little odd because I'm so used to the toy and to have those wings. They're more cartoon accurate. But still, it looks really good. And this is a great pick. Now, I never mentioned this guy because I really didn't think they would do this one just yet. But basically, aside from Moonstriker, this wave really does dial out 18 of the 19 toy versions, or the figures that were in the toy line in Kenner back in the day. which is fantastic. It's phenomenal. I'm glad they did that. Now, looking at the pack out that comes in here, the original toy had this arm launching mechanism with a grapple. I'm surprised they didn't include that, but then again, they're probably planning to put him in. But what would suck is there's not very much to back metalize on this guy in a toy version, but they probably would still capitalize on that. You know how Super 7 is, and so yeah, they probably would capitalize on that. Does have a blast effect. He's got this small little gun there. He's got the shoulder blast effects too, I believe. That's what that is. And then the backpack, which looks, it has similarities to the vintage, but still different. Still not exactly like the vintage one, which is fine. And we do like upgraded stuff and looking good, but still having the actual look that we want. So this is definitely an ultimate figure, and it looks ultimately good, and I'm glad that they're making this guy, and I'm not disappointed. So I am disappointed in 65 bucks. There's the proposed packaging. It never matches ever under any circumstance, but still it's weird. Are they gonna package the wings on his back, his backpack on? I don't think they've ever done that before. Or will the backpack be mounted in a lower blister behind it and just look like he's wearing it as an effect, which, in all honesty, if they do that, that still looks really cool. I do like displaying this stuff. So my VAC metal figures, I've never opened one. Never have. They're displayed, and I just look at them. I don't touch them. No fingerprints. No flaking. I enjoy them in the package. And I can enjoy a lot of these modern figures in the package. Especially if I've got cartoon ones that are out, and I'm not mad. I don't feel duped. Like I got duped into buying the cartoon ones and then the VAC metal ones, because now I feel like it's a better reason to just keep them in there. But anyway, have you ever had that dream that you're late for class or you missed class, and it's like it's been a long time since I've been in school? I seem to have missed Shill 101 class. I'm not doing very well. So this is hardware, but here we're going to see this in a little bit, but his Prowler bird's not there. I wonder why they did that. Maybe they plan to put this in as a toy version down the road and include the bird then, which would be kind of shady and sneaky. Hold on a second. Let me refer to my shill mentor and find out what I should have said in this situation, but that is kind of shady and sneaky. It looks really good. Here's Hardware's pack out, which I was just shocked to not see the bird. And I guess I'm shocked if the backpack doesn't open up. Well, I guess we'll find out more when it arrives and see how it matches this, what colors match and stuff. But I still think it's a fantastic looking figure overall. I'm very pleased with it so far in what I see, except missing the bird. And will we get a toy version down the road? Not sure. He's got this big old gun. The weapons and accessories, he never came with that. Those two guns and that other thing, he didn't come with it. But he did come with the backpack, and he came with a bird that's not there. And yeah, still, this looks like a nice cross between Toon and toy. I guess the original figure matched cartoon pretty well for the time. All right, I have got to say Melodia is probably the most important figure here. Not because we want to fill out the vintage toy line, but because we've never gotten a Melodia. And you got to think the 80s were the era. Factor out G.I. Joe and all those females, and factor out the females they already put in this toy line, or female, and factor out females they've put in Shopper. Okay, so there's a lot of females in the vintage toy lines, but a lot of vintage toy lines had none, like Visionaries and Cops and Crooks didn't have any female characters. There was only one in Silverhawks, and we didn't get the bad guy to go up against. Almost literally, she goes up against Bluegrass, and the accessories go up against Bluegrass. Also, it is quite interesting and fascinating how we didn't get that figure back in the day, but it's still amazing and exciting that we get this now. Sucks that she's so expensive, but I want to show something with the accessories if I can find it, and that is what you get with kind of these musical notes. So Bluegrass came with these musical notes, and I thought, oh, you know what? I don't even mind that they just literally copied his, but they didn't. These are all new musical note molds, and I got to tell you this. I would rather them figure out a way to keep the price down and reuse parts. Not saying that Melodia has a lot of parts that could get reused. I'm just saying that if they could reuse body parts from other figures and characters, and I would be A-okay if they did that, so that we could get the price point down to the 35. They all should be 35. And figuring all this out. Hopefully this new CEO can figure stuff like this out in the future. But this line feels like it's really drawing close to an end. There's not much left in it. Not really that many characters, even the ones that weren't in the toy line but were in the cartoon. Not a whole lot that they can cover. So anyhow, I think she looks really good. Fantastic. I don't know what I would expect to improve on her. And again, I don't really want her to have a ridiculous amount of articulation, because then it would definitely break up the sculpt. I do feel that. I felt that way before I ever heard Brian say it. So I love the Ultimates because they look like the cartoon. Not a lot of crazy cuts. Not looking like a lot of these figures. Some of these figures that are Marvel Legends that have just like 60 different lines in them where they're cut up. I'm not all about that lifestyle. This is beautiful to me. I just did a video with the AWE Striker that was from Fans Hobby, and I loved looking at those Super 7 figures, getting them off the shelf, just putting them on there. They looked great. They posed like a human would pose in the correct pose. They did the minimum that needed, but anyhow, like Spider-Man probably does need 60 different little cuts for his crazy pose with the legs in the air, swinging on a web, but she's just going to stand there. She can get any pose they put her in the cartoon with this body. Now for my predictions for Wave 8, I predict we're going to get a Moonstriker, and I think that they'll include the Tailspin figure. And I think Wave 8 would be the last that we see new figures, and after that, we would just get repaints and Vac Metal toy and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe we will see an occasional like an SDCC exclusive in future years, and they just kind of put stuff back out, and then greatest hits special reissue, maybe some stuff hit as deluxe, which I'd be okay with that, by the way. But yeah, I kind of feel like we are 2 waves away from this being over. Not the end of the world. Not mad at it either, because we've accomplished quite a bit here, but I will say that we need to get the Moonstriker, and I'm pretty sure it's going to look like it should, and I'm pretty sure we'll get Moonstriker and Flashback in Wave 9 as the toy back metalized. I think we'd get a Yes Man. Oh, that's the lesson. That's the lesson that you're supposed to be a Yes Man if you're a shill. I keep forgetting that. Every time I make another video, I forget that, but Yes Man. This is a custom, a very good custom. I almost bought one of these, but it looks really good. Here is Yes Man. So I think they'll make Yes Man. I think he's just too prominent in the cartoon, and it's one of those things. I believe Brian is a fan. Brian Flynn's a fan, and as a fan, you'd want this stuff to exist yourself. So Yes Man, like, I made a list of a whole bunch that I thought we could make, but at the end of the day, it boils down to, if they didn't make Yes Man, it would be one of those, man, they really should have. And I don't think anybody else is going to make this. I don't think any other company is going to make Silverhawks. There's too many issues. Now, we're deep enough in the video that I can talk about this, but I got a copyright claim from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers are not easy to work with. They are not easy to work with. And this wasn't like I was uploading it and they said, oh, you have 11 seconds of content that's unapproved and you can't monetize, so just like re-upload it without any content at all, and then, oh, boom, there it goes, it's fine. Somebody searched it out, watched my video, put a copyright claim against it, and then I had to spend 14 seconds clicking the button on YouTube to say, just cut it out. I don't care. Cut it all out. I won't promote your stuff, but I'm promoting the stuff right now, I guess. But with that, Yes Man needs to get made, needs to be had. And you can go to Etsy right now and get that really nice custom. That's from Etsy. Next up, we got Poker Face. I'm realizing, okay, I realized this 6 years ago when I started trying to grab clips from my own copies of the show, and I'm realizing watching hours of the videos of the original cartoon, getting a full body shot that's not extremely microscopic and low resolution is really hard. That's an animation tactic. When they put in the high detail, you're only getting the upper body torso. Getting the full body is really tough. Poker Face. Poker Face. Poker Face is a cool character. They need to make it. So I'm kind of thinking this would be in that last wave. I say last wave is the last before the toy, but there wouldn't be a toy to make out of a Poker Face because they didn't make a toy. Here's a better look at this. And of course, we can also see Hardware in there and how he looked, which looks just like the toy that they're making, the figure they're making. But and Poker Face has this little wand. I can't remember what it does. I guess I should have watched longer into the episode to see what he does with it. But I remember them saying something about make sure you keep this away from him because it's powerful. But Poker Face is an interesting character, wears that tux, and definitely needs to get made. Last character I think they would make was Seymour because he was so prominent in the show. Because as annoying and as little as I cared about Snarf, Snarf is got a huge following. I would imagine Seymour's got a bit of a following. Everybody was like, Snarf counts as a Thundercat in the Thundercats. So with that, Seymour is definitely one that you would see in the show and you would need to have an action figure of. Looking at any of these other characters, there's a lot of other characters that kind of showed up in one episode. See, and that's the thing. If it showed up in one episode, then why would that sell well? Which, in the early days of Super 7, they would bang out a super deep cut like that. But when it comes to Silverhawks, it's already not selling well. And with that, you need Seymour, who's in a lot of episodes and has a lot of personality and is highly memorable. Why not a Seymour? Probably not a bunch of fans of him, but in my opinion, highest on there. I kind of think on Brian Flynn's wavelength. Are we connecting there, Brian? And Brian's almost hinted with a guarantee of a hint of a hint of a guarantee hint that something big's coming for a ship from them. And with people even that he's talking with throwing the word Miraj out and him not going, no, there's no way, and just smiling, I feel like we might get a Miraj. But I also feel like this was before we heard that he's no longer CEO and we got another dude in there as a CEO. And it's one of those things that I know Brian wants to make this, but will it get approved to spend all the money on the prototype and all this kind of stuff after what happened with that G.I. Joe mothership? I don't know. I don't know if this will happen. But it will look more like the picture on the left, which is the cartoon, which you see kind of the pods on the outside are further out on the wings because that's what the cartoon was like. The toy itself has it all closer together, compact. The toy itself is relatively large. But I'm going to say this. I think this literally is the coolest looking ship ever made in the 80s in any toy line at all. Challenge me on that. I mean, it's cooler than any Star Wars ship that was made. Cooler than any mask ship airplane that was made because it's not following a real world vehicle. I just can't think of a cooler looking ship. It's cooler than Buck Rogers' ship. It's cooler than an X-Wing. It's cooler looking than any ship that's out there. And so with that, it has to get made, and it will cost, I hope not 500. Hopefully only 3. Come on. Make it happen for 3. All right, so I'm excited for this. I've got this pre-ordered. Now, I pre-ordered one wave, or a wave of one, but I did not pre-order it from Super 7. I went to BBTS, got the pre-orders in there. Notice that they're not doing a full wave anymore at BBTS. They are doing per character, so they're not stuck with a character that doesn't sell. So I believe the number of pre-orders plus a percentage is what they order. That's my belief. They only have like 2 months, I think, 3 months, and then they have to say, we want 400 or we want 1,000 and of this character. So I think that's how it works. Also, if you go through Super 7, you get the bonus pack, which is a couple of things that I just don't really care about. I'm not too concerned about. But these usually sell for $40 to $100 on the secondary market, the pack by itself. But you have to pay 8% more because, oddly enough, they're charging the tariff fee of 8% on top of $65 per figure. On top of that, you have to pay tax. And on top of that, you pay I think it's $7 shipping. I was afraid to click too far. I way overthought all this, so I hope you appreciate the amount of information I'm throwing at you with this, but I was afraid to go down there and click checkout because I sure as heck didn't want to way overpay for this thing. But I calculate, me personally, would have been $312 after tax and shipping. I don't want to do that. Just so you can get an extra little pack there. But Brian is saying if you order through his site, he's guaranteeing you the first in the U.S. to get it. So BBTS will get it later, and Entertainment Earth get it later. Entertainment Earth is charging $72. I got to tell you this: Entertainment Earth was my go-to to get this stuff with one of the reviewer codes, 10% off. And the only problem with them is they never had everything in stock I wanted at one time. But when you're spending this much, you pretty much get free shipping if you buy one figure and anything else. But now it's just BBTS is still the winner here for price, and $4 flat rate shipping. We're going to ship $1,000 worth of stuff anyway. I mean, $4 for shipping it all. It's no big deal. But with this, Entertainment Earth, I haven't ordered anything there in a long time because it's a price hike, and because they don't have the deals with the codes from the influencers anymore, and because they never have it all at the same time. I love Entertainment Earth, but they cater more to people buying in bulk and resellers that are like buying a whole bunch at once, a bunch of the same thing. That's the way I see it. Anyway, I'm excited for this. I'm excited and sad to know that the end is near. The end is nigh on the Silverhawks, and no one else is going to do it. We're not going to see Mattel do a Silverhawks crossover with their He-Man. Yeah, it's not going to happen, and I don't know if I'd want that. The problem is there's just not a big enough collector base in Silverhawks. And the views on this video will probably reflect that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. The Deer Hanger out.